Okay, so welcome to our BC Unitarian Zero Waste Forum. We who are here are going to share some ideas that have made the December holidays more palatable for us, and hope that anybody joining us will also do some sharing. So I'm going to start by recommending the website that Metro Vancouver has set up, called Create Memories, Not Garbage. And I'm going to see if I can bring it up here. Yeah, so they've got a great website. Let's see if we go there. And they've been doing this for at least 5 years, maybe much more, but I've only discovered it a few years ago. And they've got lots of really practical ideas. And one of the ones I just discovered today was even tips for after Christmas. So you can go there and it walks you through the suggestions for New Year's Eve, what to do with the Christmas tree, all that kind of thing. One of my favorites would be have a swap party, because I'm heavily involved in Buy Nothing groups. Now, technically in Buy Nothing, you can only give freely. You can't actually swap. But I'm probably going to do something in my housing co-op common room after Christmas, maybe in early January, and invite people to come and re-gift things that they got. Because most people wind up getting things from friends or family who are ardent about celebrating Christmas that they don't actually want, especially things, scented products and all that kind of stuff. So, and in my own life, I've always been a bit grinchy about Christmas, and not wanting to be grinchy because that's not normally my style. And I think it partly comes from, I come from quite a poor family. So Christmas was embarrassing. After Christmas, you go to school and all these kids have these new clothes and stuff. And then of course I was part of kind of the hippie era. So when I had kids, I didn't want them to be consumer oriented. And so thought of things like I took them on ski holidays and some things like that, like basically the experience idea early on, but always had this huge ambivalence about it, and would try to go out shopping for this long list and think of what people would want. And then several years ago, my daughter-in-law's family switched to doing a draw where they only draw two people's names, and one is a make it yourself gift, and the other is a book, game, or puzzle under $40. And the sub rule on that Geraldine reminded us of this year is if you find a great gift in that category that only costs $20, you're not allowed to buy a second item. It's one item. And so this is enough for me to kind of get excited about choosing and making gifts for two people. And it's just changed my whole attitude to Christmas. And I love it. So this year I get my grandson for a make it yourself gift, and he got my name. So that's kind of fun. And he's always been, from age 3 on, quite amenable to grandma wanting to do crafts and take him to the art gallery and stuff. So I know what he's going to be customizing a little leather wallet with my name and stuff on it.
I'm a member of Beacon Unitarian Church, so an avid participant of the BC Unitarian Zero Waste team. And two things in my Christmas evolution. One is trying to reduce the number of people that I have to purchase things for. And that is always difficult, but I'm quite cautious about, I'm very careful not to add anybody without some really good reason, so that I'm not worrying about getting gifts for a whole bunch of people. And the other thing is to buy consumables And I love to buy chocolates for people. And I buy chocolates from Coco Monk in Kitsilano. And I tell them what I need, how many vegan boxes, how many adventurous boxes, how many conventional chocolate boxes. And I ask them not to put in the plastic tray. So the chocolates do move around in the box more than if the plastic tray was there, but I don't have to worry about giving people plastic that they don't really need. And so I send in my order and they make up the boxes specially for me without the plastic tray, and then I go and pick them up, and it works very well. And yes, I'm very pleased with how that works.
I go into the Christmas season feeling quite grinchy every year. I would like to convince my family to give up the gift, because as Mary once said, it's not Christmas that I don't like, it's shopping I don't like. So if we didn't exchange gifts, Christmas season would be fun. But I've tried to talk my family into that, but they don't all feel the same way I do. So I struggle with that. And I used to be married to a man who was very much a consumer, and he loved to buy all kinds of things at Christmas. So I was fighting that constantly, and trying to find more meaningful ways to think about Christmas. And one thing I've landed on is every year I write a letter to each of my daughters, and I talk about all the things that happened to them in the past year, the things that I'm proud of them about, the things I'm looking forward to doing with them in the new year, and just kind of having like a New Year's, I give it to them at Christmas, but it's more of a New Year's letter reflecting on the past year. And they tell me they look forward to that letter every year. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what they tell me. So I tried to take the consumerism out of it by doing that. And also, good 20 years ago or so, I read this column by Unitarian minister Harold Rosen. I'm not sure if he's still a Unitarian minister. He might have moved on, but he came across, I came across this, it was his list of seasonal strategies. With this list, Harold invites us to look beyond the all too familiar things and see the larger reality they represent. So I go over this list at the beginning of every season, and it helps ground me a little bit when things are getting busy and I'm feeling like there's all kinds of responsibilities I'll have or expectations that I put on myself that I really shouldn't. So some of these things are a little bit dated, but I still think they're important to think about. So under his season of symbols, the first one is gifts. Gifts, they are more than stuffed boxes covered with shiny paper and ribbons. And of course, now we know not to use shiny paper and ribbons, but this goes back a few years. They are tangible tokens of all those things we wanted to do for our loved ones and friends all year long, but never got around to it. Christmas cards. They are more than donations to Hallmark and overtime pay for the postal service. They are humble hints of the much we'd like to say if only time, emotional strength, and eloquence abounded. Christmas lights. They are more than electrical fire hazards and jobs for the handy person in our midst. They conquer the darkness of season and soul with a glimpse of celestial splendor. Christmas carols. They are more than memory markers and excuses for extra choir rehearsals. They are auditory proof that heaven is nigh and that the layers of tradition can heal the layers of our pain. And the final one is angels. They are more than plastic ornaments on trees. They are those whispers we hear just in time saying, you have what it takes. Good deeds can be fun. Things pass, but love abides. And all will turn out well, despite appearances. So I read that makes me remember what Christmas is really all about, or more anyway. And it helps me just get perspective on things. So the other thing I'm doing now, a few years ago, I bought a little tree, a little fir tree. I forget what you call them. Anyway.
The
And
Norfolk pine.
yes, and it was very small the first year and everyone laughed at me, but I put it outside this summer and it's doubled in growth, and I brought it in the fall, and that's my Christmas tree. And I'm sure in a few years it'll be a full-size Christmas tree, but it feels good to have a live tree.
I asked my middle granddaughter, on Friday, what she wanted for Christmas. And, you know, kind of afterwards, I didn't feel very good about that, because that kind of gets into the consumer thing. And at first she talked about some kind of special kind of stuffy that I've never heard of. But then her mom said, remember how your teacher said that it's good to have presents that you experience. And Emily, or Astra's like, oh yeah. She said, maybe we could go skating. So I said, oh, that would be great. That'd be a present for me and for you. So, but we may actually be going to the Nutcracker. So that would be also an experience, but a very expensive one. They really jack up the prices at the Christmas time for these things. Anyhow, it would be worth it to see how she reacts to that. So yeah, I mean, we've got reusable bags. We always get something for our granddaughters, and Martha and I just fill our stockings. We don't get presents of any size.
That site I mentioned for Metro Vancouver has a little place where you can you can put in the amount that you want to spend for, say, experiences, and they come up with a whole list of suggestions. And I think it's like it at least goes to $51 to $100, because I think some of us, when we try not to be Grinches, go, okay, you know, like as I say, I used to take my kids on a ski holiday. Well, that was more expensive than buying them a bunch of crap, but it was something that fit my values and something that I could enjoy too. So yeah.
One of the main benefits to the Christmas holiday December season for me is actually getting together with people. And that is a little bit more problematic with the continued COVID, but it is still a high value. So just adding that, seeing friends and family.
So I'm going to read it aloud. You could mute yourself and read it with me, and then we'll have a brief chat afterwards about which one of those is going to be your mantra over the next month. Believing in the true spirit of Christmas, I commit myself to remember those people who truly need my gifts, express my love in more direct ways than gifts, examine my holiday activities in the light of my deepest values, be a peacemaker within my circle of family and friends, and rededicate myself to my spiritual growth. Guess I should leave that up there and invite each person to say something. For me, as I read it aloud, I'm thinking of the last one because I'm dabbling in Christianity. Liberal Christianity, obviously, where Jesus and God are more about metaphors. And I've always had some trouble with the Unitarian Church, you know, when we change the lyrics to Christmas carols, which many of us learned in school, and it's just it feels unwelcoming for people who come on Christmas Eve and are kind of like, what did you just say? So I may wind up at Canadian Memorial United Church for one of their Christmas events, as well as going to things at UCB. That may be my spiritual growth for this season.
I'm going to be examining my holiday activities in the light of my deepest values.
That's the one that's jumping out at me too, examining the holiday activities in the light of my deepest values. But also jumping out is remembering those people who truly need my gifts.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, I think for me, that's a good one, the first one. And also, I guess, because I'm a pagan and really like to honor the dark, and the kind of fallow period that winter is. So maybe the last one too. Yeah, they're all good.
Mhm.
Mary, could you put in the link in the chat to that?
Yes. Yes, I will. And I'm just going to welcome Dianne. Dianne, we're just kind of wrapping up, but each one I invited to comment on one of these items from the Christmas pledge that they feel speaks to them for this year.
We did have a whole service dedicated to zero waste at Christmas time, and people came up with great ideas, including hanging fruit to dry on your window, and then you have a decoration and you have dried fruit at the same time.
Nice.
Yeah, there was full participation. We divided up into groups. People brainstormed ways to have zero waste at Christmas. And the other thing is we've started a zero waste column in our newsletter. And there are 4 of us who are taking turns to write something that's that we hope will be of interest to everybody. Yeah.
Great.
And we have one person who is participating is over 90, and she has a couple of hot topics.
Excellent. Great.
Yeah.
Do share those when you think of it with our Google group so that we can all see them and riff off them. So here's the Christmas pledge up here. So just pick one of those to comment on, whichever one speaks to you at this moment.